Thus, the player only plans to stop at the Santiago Bernabéu. The transfer market looks exciting in a Madrid way. Florentino Perez wants to be the main protagonist of this transfer period, and they have been working in Valdebebas for some time. The operations, as can be seen, are going very advanced. One of the priorities in Chamartin was to sign a central defender. This is going to be the Lille defender, who many call the new Varane. It is not for less. The two have many similarities. Likewise, the sports management of the white team continues to create a team for the present but also for the future. It should be noted that Yoro is only 18 years old and has a very promising career ahead. Everyone who has followed him speaks wonderfully about him. Contract ends in 2025. Good old Lenny ends his contract with his team in 2025. In France they are asking for 60 million euros for him, that is, his clause, but in the noble area of Chamartin they are not willing to pay that amount of money. They are clear. Furthermore, at the moment the player's value is 45 kilos. Thus, we will have to see how this operation ends, although authorized voices from Real Madrid highlight that both entities are condemned to understand each other. They assure that there is no other possible ending for this soap opera. Chelsea has set its sights on Real Madrid. At Stamford Bridge they want to offer a swap to the white team in which they bring in Aurelien Tchouaméni. The London team, for its part, would offer Reece James. Everything indicates that Florentino Perez is not going to accept such a proposal. In the capital of Spain they have no intention of getting rid of the French midfielder, and the English right-back does not attract too much attention either. Furthermore, it is worth highlighting that in Valdebebas they insist that they are not going to sign absolutely anyone to reinforce such demarcation. Lucas Vazquez is going to renew until 2025 and Dani Carvajal is currently in great shape. Starting next year, the film may be very different. Of course, James is a player who gets injured quite frequently, and for this reason he is practically ruled out from the merengue team's plans. He is not on the roadmap and will not wear white, except as a surprise. Financial fair play. The Blues have problems with financial fair play. For this simple reason, they have thought of this formula to obtain the services of Tchouaméni with a low cost of the operation. Of course, in the noble area of Chamartin they are not going to even allow a small soap opera to occur about it. Florentino, the sports management and Carlo Ancelotti trust the former AS Monaco player quite a bit. They are happy with his services and he performs very well in the core area. Even this campaign he has sacrificed himself and he has had to play as a central defender. He has done it in a remarkable way, thus carrying out a small paper. Real Madrid continues to prepare for the match against Manchester City. While Pep Guardiola's team played a match last night and has another one left on Saturday, Carlo Ancelotti has a whole week to face the first round of the tie. The Italians' team trained today in Valdebebas. In fact, there was a little game in which the Reggiolo coach stopped training to praise the attitude of his players. He did it specifically in an action in which Jude Bellingham went intensely to cut the ball off Eduardo Camavinga. The English midfielder ended up taking the ball from his teammate and the play ended in a goal. The Madrid five went to lift the Frenchman after the play and Carletto gave them an example. "I like that, we are giving everything as if it were already the game, that's how we are going well," Ancelotti shouted during training. With the exception of Courtois and Alaba, the infirmary has been left empty in the most important stretch of the season. Barring a last-minute setback, Ancelotti will be able to count on practically the entire squad. Early ending. The feeling that many have is that the tie between Real Madrid and Manchester City is an early final. After all, it is a repeat of the semi-final of the last 2 years. It is the match that pits the current champion of the Champions League against the king of the competition. Strong emotions are coming. In the locker room they still have that 4-0 defeat at the Etihad in mind and there is a desire for revenge. Carvajal already said it on his day, specifically after beating CA Osasuna in El Sadar. Various issues are beginning to heat up around the future of the Premier League and where the name of Real Madrid may be splashed aside. Pay attention to Manchester City's sanctions for the future. Chelsea, Manchester City, Everton and Nottingham Forest, but the emphasis is on the Etihad. Daily Mail speaks of a more than controversial situation surrounding the possible sanctions that the Premier League will continue to apply in relation to clubs that do not comply with its financial fair play and that could even prevent the departure of giants like Erling Haaland who are making noise in the real universe. Madrid. In the English First Division, there is debate about perhaps removing sanctions in the form of points from those clubs that exceed the permitted salary limit. This season's scandals involving some of the UK's most iconic clubs and short-term powerhouses like Manchester City under investigation for 115 possible violations is at the heart of it all. In the middle of this plot appears the possibility of introducing a penalty that starts with some kind of tax to be paid to those who exceed said commercial items. The punishment translated into points would be removed so that UK clubs can continue spending as they please without jeopardizing the viability of a tournament that goes beyond money. Fear of a leak. The modern Premier League has been built on the basis of millions, and without rules that allow them to continue using them, things can go into an unknown universe. There are fears in England of a massive flight of talent thanks to clubs not being able to pay exorbitant amounts of salaries to their players. Coincidences or not, it comes before Manchester City's ruling. Erling Haaland must be retained. In a league full of sheiks and magnates, the reality is that paying said tax would be just like having to incorporate a new regular expense into the club's accounts and not really imposing a policy of sanctions that goes hand in hand with improving the financial situation of the club entity. The Premier League is analyzing a measure that may be the biggest scandal at the level of the European football executive in a long time.